Hey friends, welcome to another video. If you're new here, thanks for stopping and clicking on the video. And if you've watched before, welcome back. Today's video is going to be how to repurpose old book covers into a journal. So what I did was went back to basics. When I first started making journals, sketchbooks and such, one of the things that I struggled with was finding a video that got into more than one technique. And so that's kind of the theme in the upcoming videos that I'm going to be posting. It's going to be a compilation of what did I want to know when I was just starting out? What kind of videos was I looking for? I can't even begin to tell you how I scoured YouTube searching for the perfect technique, the right way to do practically everything. And so in this video, I'm gonna show you 5 different ways that I found to use an old book and turn it into a brand new journal. So let's get into it. Okay, so technique number 1, cover the book in fabric. This one is tried and true. I've made tons of journals this way. This fabric is not the most beautiful on its own, but I found that once I had covered the book, it was quite pretty. I decorated the cover. I just used a little piece of burlap, and this is an iron-on. I found a whole bunch of them at a little estate sale, and I thought they were so cute. This journal is already bound. The other ones that I'm going to show you today, they're not bound yet, but I'm going to work at it, get it done, and they will be listed in my Etsy shop. So if you're interested in that, I'll have the link in the details of the video and you can check those out. Please do. My Etsy is still fairly new. I've had one sale and I was so excited about it. To cover in fabric, it's so simple. This book cover had a decent spine on it already. So all I did was just lay it down on the fabric and wrap it up like a Christmas present. The only thing that you have to really watch in using fabric on your journals is the glue. You just want to make sure you have a nice thin coat of glue on there so that it's not coming through and staining the fabric. So like I said, this one is already bound. I lined the cover with some nice sturdy scrapbook paper that I thought was pretty, and it really complemented the color of the fabric that I chose. So book 1, fabric cover. Book 2, I chose to do paper. Now, a lot of people will argue with me, I'm sure, but I've seen the cover wrapped in fabric in the same way that they do the paper. And I'm not crazy about that technique, honestly, because I find the paper tends to crack at the spine where the book is open and closed. So all I did was trim down a very beautiful piece of scrapbook paper for my cover. I used the same page and I cut a piece that would fit the back, and I put a little strip along the spine just to kind of fancy it up a little bit. I put eyelets on all the spines because I intend to include some dangles. So the inside is lined with a pretty flowery scrapbook paper, and I reinforced the already existing spine. Like, you don't have to get fancy when you're doing this. When you're just starting out, it's perfectly fine to just go ahead and use the entire book. So I reinforced the spine with some chipboard, and then over that I put fabric. It's just another measure of protection so that once your signatures are sewn in, it doesn't tear. So idea number 2, find a beautiful piece of scrapbook paper and let it take center stage. All the books that I have that are not covered in fabric have already been varnished several times. And if you're anything like me, there's always a drink on your desk. So if it topples over, you can just wipe your book off. Idea number 2, cover the old book cover using scrapbook paper. Idea number 3. This is probably one of my favorites. You can see it's glossy because I've already varnished the cover. And what I did with this book cover is I first put a layer of just PVA glue, just Elmer's glue, basic. I fill my container with some white glue, and then I add a little bit of water just to kind of make it a little runny. I use a regular old paintbrush, painted it on the book cover, and then I put scrunched up tissue paper all over the front, back, and spine. This method takes a little longer because you have to wait in between for drying, but if you're patient, it is so worth it. I chose to paint this one kind of a dark forest green, and then I just took a gold acrylic paint on my finger and just brought out that texture all over the cover, the spine, the back, and I like to do extra in the corners. I cut out a circle with chipboard, and then I did another circle inside, and underneath is a adorable little bunny rabbit from a vintage greeting card that I had. This time when I did the cover, I lined the inside, and in between the lining and this front part, I first glued down some lace, and when I glued it on here, it just secured the ribbon, so it makes for a really nice closure. This book is lined with fabric, and what I did here, you can see there's stitching. So I wrapped a piece of sturdy cardstock in the fabric, and then I stitched it all around and then glued it inside the front and back cover. The spine also is reinforced with chipboard in here, and then another layer of protection, which is fabric. And I mean, this tissue paper was orange. It was not pretty, but you gotta trust the process, right? So that's idea number 3. Idea number 4, paint. Good old-fashioned paint. So this book cover was perfect for it because it was a fabric cover. So when you paint on there, it just gives it so much texture. The spine, I had a rub-on in gold, so I used that. And then the front, I painted, but I also cut out a piece of chipboard, painted that to match, and then glued it to the front cover. But to make it extra fancy, before I glued it down, I cut a circle in there, and then the pop out from the circle I ran through my die cutting machine, which you absolutely do not need, but I have one, so I decided to use it. The inside cover is some beautiful gold scrapbook paper, and of course, again, I used fabric to reinforce that spine. So idea number 4 is paint the cover. Idea number 5 is similar but different. So I painted this cover a beautiful kind of buttery yellow. The back has a small little decal rub-on there. The front this is chipboard. So I just cut chipboard strips, use those strips to turn it into a window frame. And I just held the frame together with a little bit of masking tape so that I could paint it, because I knew I wanted this frame to be a different color than the journal itself. And underneath, this is another vintage greeting card. It had such a pretty image, and it seemed like such a good spring journal. You can track your gardening, your flower planting, whatever you choose. The inside of this book is lined in fabric. Again, I tried to make it as fancy as I could, so there is thick cardstock in here, and I just wrapped it in the fabric, and then I used my sewing machine to stitch around. It's not necessary if you don't have a sewing machine. Just make sure that you're using a nice sturdy glue. I really like this Beacon 3-in-1. If you're in the States, it would be similar to just using Fabri-Tac. Any kind of an acetone-based glue will do the same thing. A water-based glue will warp paper. So I reinforced this spine also with fabric. I used my Crocodile to put an eyelet in there, and I used rub-ons on the spine. This was finicky because my rub-ons were vintage, so they did not want to come off that sheet. But once I got them on here, it was fine. Varnished the book several times. So I chose a window frame, but the sky's the limit. And if you're watching this video, that means that you're a bookmaker. So use your imagination, and any shape will do, really.
I'll put on some music now so you can flip through the books with me and see how they all turned out. As a little thank you for sticking around this long, please use the discount code NEWSHOP if you happen to head over to my Etsy store. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.